Welcome to Gray Matter Gains Podcast.
Very dramatic.
I'm Cole Wickham.
And I'm Alex Peterson.
And yes, that was dramatic. That was the intent.
A little over the top, but it's all right. It's better than the first try.
Okay, look, we have to do something to attract people.
You're right.
I mean,
You're
we
right.
got like what?
We're not too good at the clickbait yet. So we got to get on that.
We need to get better at clickbaiting people.
We need to get some like big booty and big titties for the wallpaper.
Right. We just need to put a whole bunch of Instagram models on the cover, and then a whole bunch of guys will start clicking on it.
Exactly. That's how you hack the system.
Right. We're not good at that yet, though.
Yeah. My ass is not dumpy enough yet. So.
I mean, I don't know.
Thanks. All right. So how should we start this today?
Some
articles.
Yeah. So we're gonna go over a couple articles.
Get the brain working.
They don't have to be smart articles. They can be stupid articles.
They're usually stupid. Yeah.
But that's okay.
Anytime you're going off, whatever you can search in 30 seconds on Google, it's probably not going to be great.
We put a lot more time in than that.
We did, but not to the articles part.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I do have something, and it is regarding radiation emitted by popular smartphones.
Really?
Yep. Popular smartphones apparently radiate a pretty decent amount of radiation. Radiation.
They radiate radiation. No way.
Yeah. And so I guess the Germans really give a fuck about this. I don't know why the Germans and just like Europeans care. Because Americans really
the Germans are trying to take over again.
Yep.
No offense. No offense to like any Germans out there, right? Like
Yeah, but just
I'm partially German, so I can say that.
Yeah, just stick your wiener back in your pants. What Jesus? Get out of our smartphones. But keep your smartphones away from your wiener.
That's true. Yeah, you don't hold your smartphones by any of your precious areas.
Yeah, because the Council of European Union.
The European.
Those kind of word blends.
The European of Urine Union.
Jeez, I just had a stroke. The Council of European Union has set
radiation
standards for cell phones at 2.0 watts per kilogram.
Oh, that's really nice.
I don't know what that means. But it's measured over 10 grams of tissue that is absorbing the signal.
So like for every kilogram of tissue absorbing
weight,
the signal, it can only be 2.2 watts.
Yeah. But like,
isn't like a regular outlet like 5 watts or something like that?
I don't know. It's not like we're just sticking our ear or we're not sticking our dick in an outlet though. And then it says SAR values are calculated at the ear. So if you're speaking on the phone or at the body, so if it's kept in your pocket,
it's radiating right into your brain.
Yeah, you're just taking that 2.0 watts right into
your
gray matter.
Right into the gray matter.
Yep.
And that's why we call it Gray Matter Gains.
Yep. And you also should not invest in a Motorola Edge. So for all of our Motorola Edge listeners, pour one out for them. The Motorola Edge has the highest radiation emission with a SAR value of 1.79 watts of radiation per kilogram.
Oh, they're close.
That is significantly higher than most other smartphone models in the US or in the market today, and close to the limits set by the EU standards for cell phones.
So they're pushing the limit.
They're right there at the borderline. But like, what the fuck is the point of setting 2.0 watts per kilogram if like what's the difference? They don't say what the, like, do you just immediately get brain cancer by hanging out on the smartphone?
I tend not to talk on like the phone anymore, if that makes sense. Like I don't hold it up to my ear. I tend to go get my like headphones if I know I'm gonna be on a phone call.
Well, and I kind of do the same thing. Like every time my mom calls, I'll just hang up and then text her, "What do you want?"
You're saving your brain.
Not for the same reason. I just don't like calling people.
It's just you're saving your brain. That's why.
Exactly.
You're saving your gray matter.
Exactly. Coming in second is the Axon 11 5G by ZTE with 1.5 or 1.59.
I don't think I've heard of.
I don't think that. Literally all of them except for the Google Pixel.
I mean, I have a Pixel.
I haven't. Oh, you have a Pixel?
That is a Pixel. That you.
Oh my God, I'm holding a Pixel right now. I am in my hands holding 1.39 watts.
That's okay.
Per kilogram of tissue. I like how it's measured in kilogram too. That's actually like.
Well, they're in Europe.
Well, no, I mean like it's not measured in grams or like decagrams. It's kilograms, straight to kilograms, which is like that's a pretty hefty amount of weight.
Well, but everyone's a kilogram though.
What?
Everyone is like 1 kilogram.
Yeah, I know, but like if you think about the actual tissue,
if you throw a phone onto a baby, I mean, you know, it has like
that baby immediately gets ass cancer.
You have a kilogram there.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like that whole baby that you throw the smartphone on.
It's absorbing it.
Is it? Yeah, is that whole baby absorbing?
Well, now that we have like tablet phones, probably.
True. That
the larger you throw your laptop onto the child, and
they don't say
it absorbs all the radiation.
They don't say like what the we sound so dumb talking about it.
That's okay.
I didn't realize
that's okay.
We're not uneducated we are in cell phone radiation.
A radiation podcast. We are a gray matter gains podcast,
and it is a good thing.
But the reason we're talking about it is because it could damage your gray matter.
Yeah, but I just want to say I feel really good in my investment with Samsung.
Yeah,
because it carries the least radiation risk.
Oh, I said probably because it like doesn't have good quality.
I would very much disagree. This baby is held up for many a year, and it's emitting a meager 0.19 watts per kilogram.
I think radiation is good for you.
How is that? How is that? Are you trying to be the Hulk? We are talking about gains.
We are talking about gains.
He is the beaver. He is
so technically.
Yeah, he doesn't even need steroids. He just needs pure gamma, and he's good.
I think my phone emits pure gamma.
Yeah, because Google Pixel, what was that? 1.7? Oh, 1.39.
Yeah, we're low.
So let's round out the top 5.
We're not in Motorola territory.
No, you're way below the fucking. What was it? The Axon 11. I can already know what Axon is. Yeah, I can already guess that that's a Chinese brand. And obviously that's going to promote, that's probably got lead in the screen. So I think the radiation,
little children.
Yeah, the radiation is probably the least of your worries, to be honest.
Well, you just gotta get it.
Shrug it off.
Yeah, shrug it off.
Just keep it away from your nuts and keep it away from your head. You're good.
Right. That's really what we wanted to focus on, right? Was keep the phone away from your head and keep it away.
Heads.
Yeah,
both heads, and you're good. That's why.
All your reproductive organs and your head, because that radiation, contrary to popular belief, is not good for DNA.
Oh shit! Here, the actual lowest in the SAR value is the ZTE Blade V10. Which is a pretty sick name. Blade and V10. Those are some of my favorite things. Those are sick as well.
Probably a BlackBerry.
It's probably a piece of shit, to be honest with you. It's probably garbage. I
guarantee it is.
But it's only coming at 0.13 watts of radiation per kilogram. So that's not bad. This is where I think boomers are in a serious advantage. They get cancer. Well, they get cancer from like
walking outside. Because there's so much radiation.
They get cancer from like
everybody else
spending time in the Vietnam War. Just
you think Vietnam had a lot of radiation out there?
Eating lead paint
from children's toys,
from old cars, or just being old in general.
Yeah.
But they stick their phones in their titty pocket in their shirts.
Well, that's true.
So
right into their heart.
Right into the heart, but avoiding the old gonads.
They won't get brain cancer though.
They won't get brain cancer, and they won't get gonadal cancer. So
right.
Avoiding all of the true risks.
The risks you care about.
Yeah, the ones that are worth a shit.
Heart cancer is not as bad as
at least if you get that, you're on your way out regardless. But like if you just spend the rest of your life without
you can't do that.
Or functionality of your brain, those are all rough things.
Right. That would be a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, so I think I'm committing myself to a boot pocket.
Yeah.
So I can carry my phone.
You're gonna get a plaid button up and wear that everywhere you go.
I might have to now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got maybe the radiation will help with gyno. Just, tighten up the nipples.
You could just,
if I'm lucky,
you could stick in your back pocket, and then all you would have is
ass cancer. I'd get a fatty then.
Tumors.
The ultimate glute hack.
Grow
Ass cancer.
tumors.
yeah. You
don't, right there in your soft tissue.
Yep. That's the way to go.
Wow.
Yeah. I think
that was very informational.
But I'm most looking forward to your article.
Oh,
You've
yeah,
hyped it up quite a bit. You want to see you want to see my live reaction, and I do want to see your live reaction. I'm looking forward to it. I saw a little picture of the like cracked out woman you had on your computer.
So you'll really enjoy this. Okay.
Okay.
So there was this 35-year-old babysitter.
Okay.
Right, in Florida.
Back to the babies.
Of all places, right?
Okay.
Florida.
Obviously Florida. The land of no laws.
Right. But somehow she was persecuted, so I guess it didn't work out for her.
She must have really fucked up.
But so this woman was babysitting this 4-year-old boy, and the 4-year-old boy must have said he wasn't having much fun or whatever else like that.
Okay.
So what would you do if you had a child complaining that he wasn't having much fun?
Brand him. or like turn on the TV.
I'm never gonna let you watch my kids.
Or give them a smartphone to irradiate their heads or something.
Right.
Make them shut up somehow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, essentially, that's what this woman did, because she threw the kid and some towels into a dryer.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah. So threw this little 4-year-old boy and I guess the towels were meant to like pad.
Is that what the fuck? She just threw him on a little spinny ride? Is that what she thought?
It really was. And the cops interviewed this lady.
I'm looking forward to the response.
And like there wasn't really much response from her, right? Because she was but the kid, they interviewed the kid.
Okay, so he lived.
He was like,
that's good.
Oh yeah, he lived.
Thank God. That's good.
No, she didn't like heat it up and like leave him in there for an hour.
That's good.
She didn't actually dry him.
She didn't put him on a full spin cycle.
Right. No, but he was talking to the police, and he was like, she put me in there, and I went round and round,
round and round,
and then she opened the door, and then she shut it again and did it again. So this kid,
time for phase 2.
This kid went to the hospital with bruises and stuff like that.
Shit.
And now this woman is being charged with like aggravated assault.
Obviously child abuse and 1,000 other things. Florida people.
But I guess she's watched the kid before.
She's probably been planning on that for like weeks then. If this is like her like 6th time.
Well, it would be very easy to kill a child in a dryer though. It's like she didn't obviously want to kill him.
No, she just wanted to put him through a little cycle. Just
maybe he wasn't paying attention. She was like, you need to learn to listen.
Yeah, you need to learn to listen. You need to be entertained. So let me put you in this dryer. I think if I was going to abuse a child, that's probably the last thing I would do.
You wouldn't go the dryer route?
No, that's such a weird direction to go. How do you connect the dryer and a child complaining in your mind?
It does have a locking mechanism on it, though.
That's true.
It'd be a pretty
does
horrible
every
way to die
ever.
I mean, that's fair.
What? Like, yeah. Why wouldn't you go to like, the old classic, like, hey, shut up, or start with
the dryer is
stage 1.
So much more effective.
Yeah, start with like stage 1 and work your way to a dryer.
What stage is the dryer in your line of stages?
Yeah, she needs help. Only in Florida. That's such a Florida thing. Only Florida people would skip all those other stages and go straight to dryer.
Well, what's weird is that she'd watched him before. So like, what were you doing the previous times that was sufficient enough, but this time you just had to throw him in a dryer?
Maybe wash.
Push him in the washer?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she just like, she took him down to the river and like scrubbed him on one of those washboards, like in the old days, And she's like, now I gotta ring him through.
Right.
I don't know what could possibly.
But like, what would you do if you came home and your child just had a couple bruises?
Oh, well, if my child had a couple bruises, I'm obviously like, what the hell happened here?
And then your babysitter was like, well, we're just trying to have fun, so I put him through the dryer.
We were trying to have
fun. I'm not assuming malicious intent because he's not dead.
Yeah.
Right. So like
that sounds pretty malicious, though.
It kind of does. Obviously she didn't think it through.
Sticking a four-year-old child in a dryer that sounds relatively malicious.
I feel like you can't say that she thought it through. I really don't think.
I don't think thinking through is a thing in Florida. I think that's reserved for the uppermost states.
Oh, here in the upper states, we don't put our children through the spin cycle.
Yeah, no, we just like throw them outside in the snow or some.
Maybe she put it on like delicate mode.
Oh, true. Or
something
that's
like
true. We didn't realize that she might have put it on delicate.
He wasn't spinning as fast as he could.
Yeah. She put him through like the cashmere cycle or suede, something.
Right. Something you just air dry and tumble dry.
She threw him through a tumble dry, not full. No heat cycle or nothing.
He wasn't that good.
Not stuff for the sheets and the bedding.
It didn't need to be hardcore dried. Just
lightly.
Just lightly taught a lesson.
Yeah, I don't know,
man. What brings you to do that? I mean, like, obviously, this is kind of going on for a while, but like
mental issues.
I just don't understand the mental, like, the thinking. Right? You're like,
dryer.
Yep. You're like, out of the endless possibilities of fun.
Why couldn't you just?
I'm gonna throw his child in a dryer.
Just grab a spatula and smack his hand or something. Why go straight for the dryer? That's what I'm saying about the stages. Where in the stages where sits the drying machine?
It's obviously after spanking. So
yeah.
Maybe the child was just a bad kid.
He might. Yeah. It's entirely possible. He might have just been a little piece of garbage, and she was like, "This is the only way."
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't like children.
I don't either.
So
I don't either. I still don't like other people's children. I despise.
But I would never throw a child in a dryer.
No.
That would never really be on my mind.
No, telling a little kid to fuck off would be fine. Throwing him in a dryer is a different level.
It's a different ball game.
Different ball game. A whole different league.
It's not like just a casual, thing that you do.
No, like giving a kid a spanking is one thing. Throwing him in a dryer is such an elevated way to,
I don't even know if that can really be considered a disciplinary act.
No. What lesson would you learn from being thrown in a dryer?
From being tumbled in a dryer?
This woman is ruined. What is this woman doing?
Dude, I don't know.
That's wild.
It's kind of crazy, though. It's so funny.
That is funny. Terrible for the family and that poor child. He's never going to be able to look at a dryer the same.
He won't be able to do his laundry.
Imagine when he turns 14 and he starts, diving on the internet.
I hope he listens to our podcast.
We should get him as a guest. That'd be sick. But imagine he goes and he's diving through the internet. He's becoming a man.
Right.
He comes across a certain video where a woman may or may not be stuck in a dryer. How is he going to react to that? Is he just going to scream and yell for his mom? You ever see that video of the guy?
He'll yell for the babysitter.
He just immediately dials her up. I've been thinking about you lately. Man, I should call her.
It's so bad, man. There's so many just stupid people in the world. There's so many stupid people in the world. Anyways,
so
into our actual
gray matter gaining topic.
Right, into our actual topic that you'll actually gain some gray matter from or care about. Yeah, what you've actually been listening to this for.
Yeah. So we're going into macros.
Right, macros.
And how we go about eating or consuming our macros and or calories.
Right. So we'll start off with the more scientific aspect of it, and then we'll kind of end with our
how we go about dieting.
Right. So I guess just from scientific articles alone, a lot of pretty basic scientific articles have figured out that macros, you have two essential
two essential macros
and one technically non-essential macro. So you have
very helpful,
right? But you have your carbs, fats, and protein, and it is more than well known that protein is the quote unquote muscle building macro.
If you're trying to build a certain physique, protein is probably like the first thing that most people think of. It's the one that most people will track their protein before tracking even carbs or fats.
Right. And whether that's to the detriment of their actual obviously. Planning is up for debate. But but protein is obviously one of the most essential especially for muscle building or muscle gain.
Weightlifters or people who are pretty active.
Yeah, protein's extremely important. And then you have your fats, and proteins and fats are both the two essential macros. So without protein or fat, you will die.
You're done.
You're done. You can't go for any very significant period of time and not, you can't go the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You can't go the rest of your life without eating fats or proteins. Yeah. It's essential. There are amino acids that come from proteins that you need, and there are specific fatty acids from fats that you need. And you can't live without them. So that's, period, done, end of discussion.
Yeah.
That's not up for debate.
Yeah. And then carbs are kind of where you're a little bit of a gray area.
Yeah. You don't technically need carbs. However, we recommend if you're able to digest them and metabolize them well, then there's really no point in not eating carbs.
Most people, I can't think of anybody, at least off the top of my head, that just can't eat carbs. Like, I mean, unless you're kind of if you're one of those people, they're like, oh, carbs, I gotta cut out my bread, and then you should change that, because that's dumb. That's not a very good mentality to have. Eat carbs. They are sugar. They provide for your body. They help regulate your body. They give you energy. Obviously, they're a good tool to have in your toolbox.
Right. And we're not, obviously to specify, we're not talking for those people that cannot eat, have certain digestive issues or all that stuff, because the most important thing with your macros is that you're able to digest them.
Yeah, like
if you're unable to digest them, or you have a hard time digesting them, you're really not getting the benefits from them that you need. And at that point, you're better off not eating them and substituting them for something that would be more beneficial for you, rather than doing it and eating it just to hit your macros.
Yeah. And then should we go over like how much protein should be incorporated in a diet?
Yeah.
I eat relatively about I eat about a gram per pound of body weight.
I was about to say a pound per body weight. That's a lot.
That's a lot?
A pound per body weight.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't even make a pound of meat. I eat a pound of protein.
You're going heavy.
Damn.
You are extremely satiated.
I eat, relatively 1,000 grams of protein per day.
But, you do that.
Yeah, but I'll bounce around. They say recommended scientifically says that you're not going to gain any more muscle building benefits past 0.7 grams of protein per body
I've
weight.
heard it's right around 0.7, 0.8.
I've heard some people react better to eating even up to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight.
Yeah, and obviously we'll kind of dive in a little bit later on into the benefits of bulking and cutting with specific protein macros and all that stuff. But I personally do a gram or even slightly above that.
Yeah.
And I feel as though I gain the best with that, and that could be also because protein has various other uses in your body, right? So you're not just specific.
It's not strictly for muscle building or
right, and it's it's really good for cognitive function as well,
Mm-hmm.
and really good for keeping you satiated. So if you're trying to cut, then obviously it's very easy to eat a lot of protein and not eat as many calories. But I just that's me personally. I eat right around 1 to 1.2 grams per body weight.
My body is very different. If I am, depending on like what stage I'm in or like how my diet is at that moment, if I'm cutting or bulking or if I'm just noticing certain things and I want to change it up, I use my fats and carbs to leverage it more than anything. Like
really?
Protein, I keep relatively consistent, where I'll eat just about a gram per pound of body weight. If I eat anything more than that, usually I get some rank ass.
Which isn't good. That means that there's a digestive issue and you're not actually metabolizing what you're eating.
Yeah. So like if I'm bulking, I will try and eat more protein, and then I'll try and counteract that by eating more fiber.
Which is interesting because when you're bulking, protein intake is not as important.
Exactly. But see, like my body doesn't react very well to carbs either.
Right. So in your situation, it makes sense.
Yeah, like a lot of people that if they're going into a bulking, they'll up their protein and they'll up their carbs. They want to provide more energy for their body to, build that muscle. My body doesn't react very well to carbs. I either burn it up and shit it out, or I don't know. But fats is where I get the most bang for my buck. If I am trying to gain more muscle, more volume, I usually use more fats.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll eat more fatty meats. I'll transition from like chicken into beef or
right,
pork.
Like 80% beef.
Yeah, something with more fat in it. Or I'll just incorporate butter. Putting butter or cheese.
Great. Butter's great.
I love some cheese. Throw some cheese on everything when I'm bulking. And then, when I'm going into a cutting, I'll dial those back. I usually try and keep my protein pretty consistent, but
yeah. So for me, it's that's really interesting because for me, when I go into a bulk, I will tend to cut my protein down and keep it right around 1 gram per pound of body weight, or even slightly less than that.
Yeah.
Just because protein actually is very satiating for your body, so it gives you that full feeling for much longer. And when I'm trying to bulk, calories at that point is much more important for me than like obviously you want to hit your protein and even exceed it. Because protein's the muscle building I guess macro.
Yeah.
But when I'm bulking, I will intentionally loosen my protein intake so that I'm able to eat more carbs and more fats and get more calories in.
Well, and that's also kind of a difference just between our bulk and cuts too. Like I do relatively small, relatively moderate, almost closer to like main gaining as far as bulk to cut. I don't do like pile on the calories for 2 months or 3 months and then dial it back. Right. I do like small, like 3-4 week type deals. So just piling on the calories isn't necessarily my goal. Right. Whereas if you're trying to get those calories, carbs and fats is the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Just throw olive oil or butter on it and you're going to get your fats.
Well, and when I bulk, it tends to go shorter than I would prefer it to. But
you get them flabby titties, and
right? Like, yeah. And but there's actually there's a lot of benefit to what you're saying with the short bulk and cut stages. I've done some research where it says that that's actually more beneficial for you than doing a long-term bulk and then a moderate to long-term cut.
At least for me, I get way more gains and way less detrimental cuts.
Right. And you probably avoid a lot of the digestive issues.
Malnutrition too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and your body's continually adapting, right? So if you're not eating a lot, if you're not eating a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit for a significant period of time, and you're just kind of at maintenance, then your body's going to very easily adapt to that, and you'll find it hard to really get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So just circling back to like how we eat, us individually.
Yeah. So at least for me, I tend to do. I tend to really only focus on protein, just because I feel like, yeah, like I tend to focus on protein and then my total caloric intake.
Yeah.
So I do a gram of protein, right? A gram to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, and then if I'm bulking, it's 4,000, 4,500, almost 5,000 calories.
Jesus. Okay. You really, you push it.
I push it. Yeah.
If I'm bulking,
my maintenance is 3,200.
Yeah. Mine's relatively there. I'm a little bit lower. I think I'm like 29 for maintenance. But if I'm bulking, I'll go like up to 35 at like my peak. Maybe 36 if I'm feeling extra cushy.
Pretty lean bulk.
I do a pretty lean bulk, yeah. I don't like going anything over like 16, 17% body fat.
I like seeing myself look fat.
Oh yeah, when you get that fullness,
right,
it is nice. I will say that.
And then I can just drastically change and like starve myself.
That's why I hate doing that shit. I like when you go into the gym and you just stare at the wall and you're just like, I hate myself. Like I hate doing that when you're lifting and you just feel like garbage.
But so when I cut, then I'll use much more satiating calories. So, like I said, I'll bump up my protein.
Yeah.
But I'll eat things that don't digest fast, right? So normally, you cut down the carbs a bit, and kind of bump up the fats a little bit, and then I'll eat. I wouldn't say I eat more often than I do when I'm bulking.
But you just try and disperse your meals amongst throughout the whole day to keep yourself satiated.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I'm normally not, and I'm pretty good with dealing with hunger, right? So normally, I'm not overly like sad if I'm hungry by noon and I haven't eaten. Right?
You're not like one of those people where you're hungry and then you see like cream of beef and soup and you're just like, I want to eat it.
Yeah. No, I'm not that person.
See, you have more discipline than me. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat, and that's why
cream of beef.
I would eat if I'm really hungry. I would eat anything. I would take a bite out of somebody's face, like that one guy from Florida. If I'm like really hungry,
the child or the
no, like that guy from Florida back when he did bath salts or whatever. He like ate that guy's face.
It was a totally different article.
Yeah, different article.
Okay.
That's just when I think Florida, I think bath salts guy eating.
Flocka.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Think of drugs.
I think of yep, pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
But that's why I stick to like lean bulk, lean cut, pretty moderate stuff. And then so like you were talking about your protein. I usually do like I'll watch my protein, I'll watch my calories. Even those I'm pretty loose about because as long as I'm consistent and I'm in a range, like long term, I'm gonna be all right. If I eat and if I'm cutting and I eat a whole 3,200 calories instead of the 29 to cut or whatever,
right?
Big deal, big whoop. I'm not really that worried about it. I'd rather, for me, gaining more muscle is more important because I'm a pretty hard gainer,
right?
So like I don't need to be super lean really, and I'm super vascular. Like I got.
You just look so good. I mean,
if I and like the way my fat is distributed, it's all right on the titties and right on my gut. So if
it makes you look like
if I wear a bro tank, I'm good. Like my arms are lean, my back is lean. I don't care about the rest. Everybody in the gym thinks I'm just diced to the socks, but no, I actually got some.
Take off your shirt at the beach and you have boobs,
and I got boobs. But that's why I do my, cut a few months away from beach time. That's the key. And I give myself a nice little cushion. Bit, some cushion room.
Yeah.
So I just, I like not killing myself when it comes to cutting or bulking. Especially with the protein farts the way they are. I get bad protein farts. I don't want to deal with it. And especially like I feel bad for the people around me. Because there's many times like my boss will like walk behind me right after I just dropped a fatty beefer on them. and I feel terrible. There's nothing I can do about it. It's like, you gotta just.
And I guess, we should talk somewhat about that too, because, if you're, like we had kind of said previously, if you're not actually metabolizing the food you eat, then in general, it's not going to do as much for you.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to work through the digestive issues, then, by all means, eat your macros.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
There's also things you can do to optimize with like probiotics and
right.
and eating more fiber to try and process those that if you're throwing on tons of protein, there's things you can do about it to try to maximize it, which ultimately I think everybody should do anyway, no matter how much you're consuming or what your goals are. You're trying to optimize your health.
Yeah, and like obviously you want to be careful so as not to hurt your body, right? Because if you eat something that you have a digestive issue with for a long period of time, it actually is obviously detrimental to your body.
I'm not saying if you're lactose intolerant, pound whey or something.
right. And even a lot of the problem with the fitness industry is that people will market these protein supplements or pre-workout supplements as the best, quote unquote pre-workout or quote unquote protein. And really the best protein or pre-workout is the one that you can digest.
Well, and that's why I think like I try to, if I'm going to get my, 170 grams of protein, I try and do it the most through whole foods. That's why I try with, chicken, beef, your meats. And I try and stay as far away from using whey as possible. Obviously, like today, I'm going to have a protein shake. I just wasn't able to get the food in today with my schedule. So, but you got to do what you got to do.
Right. And that's not to say that that's super detrimental for you having a protein shake once in a while.
No.
Right? But if you're solely relying on protein shakes and that's protein bars and really condensed forms of protein for your gain of protein, that's not actually the best for you, and it's not the best in general just for bulking and
not for your goals. It's not going to be optimal. Like I did that a lot in the beginning where I didn't know how to eat, but I knew protein was good. So whey protein. That's what I did. Like when I was first starting weightlifting in the first year or so, when I was still learning the ropes. And even now I'm still learning constantly about how to eat and how to, optimize my health. But back then it was just I don't know how to eat. So I'm just going to eat like I normally did, back with the cosmic brownies and everything. Cause I was a lame ass kid that ate garbage food.
You're so cool.
But then I just pounded protein shakes or protein bars, just try and get that protein up. And obviously I didn't get the gains I wanted out of it because that's what happens when you're eating garbage food and, not really truly metabolizing that protein the right way.
Well, and a lot of the science isn't really quote unquote supportive on this, right? So I don't know how many studies they've really done on whole food protein intake versus supplemental protein intake. But
anecdotally,
if you look it up and you look at bodybuilders that have weighed in on it, tons and tons of bodybuilders will have said whole food is the way to go.
Yeah, whole food is just, you feel better too, which is, that can never go unstated. If you're eating whole foods, you feel better because you're getting the appropriate amount of carbs, the appropriate amount of fats, you're getting other nutrients and vitamins that are accurate, they're dosed in a way that your body is able to break down properly.
Well, and 99% of the time, if you're not feeling good and you're trying to bulk or trying to do something like that, there's another way that you could go that will have you feeling good, right? So to be clear, you're not
just change it.
It shouldn't be this dreaded process that you're going through, right? You shouldn't have to be like, oh, I gotta, I gotta, either starve myself today or I gotta kill myself because I'm eating so much food today. That's not how it goes. You should be planning your macros accordingly. And, meal prepping obviously helps with this.
Yeah.
But, taking to calorie dense foods when you're bulking, right, that are not as satiating and are a little bit maybe more carb heavy. And then, maybe taking some more satiating foods when you're cutting, and that way you're not having to eat as often. There's tons of different ways to really control how you're feeling during the day. And if you're feeling bad, then you're not doing it correctly.
Well, yeah. And I think that's just kind of that the point of that is just the importance of listening to your body and how you respond to, your carbs, your fats, whether you respond better to whole foods or, adding some supplements. If you respond to eating more protein or less protein, that's all stuff where you gotta dip your toe in the water for all of those. You gotta try.
Right, it's very subjective.
Yeah, you gotta try different things. Like, you were talking about the difference in your kind of bulk and how you use carbs to leverage, gaining, whereas I use fats mostly.
And I feel good with carbs. I can digest carbs, whereas you can't. So we're both doing what's optimal for our bodies.
Yeah.
But we're doing it in two different ways. So,
and it also took me years to find that out.
Right.
So that's where it takes time to, try different types of diets, and also not trying to force yourself to get your macros.
Yeah, forcing yourself to get your macros, you're doing it wrong. You're just doing it wrong.
Well, you're concentrating too much on it. Like, if you have to focus where you're spending hours of your day trying to get macros and get calories and get it dialed in just right.
That's an addiction.
How long? Yeah, it's literally an addiction, and that leads to
to more body dysmorphia.
Yeah, and food issues. Yeah,
stuff.
Like, how are you ever going to be able to learn how to just eat? You can't just enjoy things if you're constantly trying to break things down.
Right, and there's we were doing research on this earlier, but looking at a lot of bodybuilders who were actually just so addicted to counting calories, and they couldn't go a day without knowing their specific macros or knowing how many calories were in this meal or whatever else like that. It was just astronomical.
It became a part of their it became their life,
and that's not healthy.
No, it's not healthy.
You need to be able to again, on this podcast, we are very pro long-term health.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's a main reason why we lift. And counting your calories day in and day out is just not practical.
It is one of those things that you definitely should do. It's one of those things that you should definitely at least try, and then
you should learn,
and then gauge it based on your life. Like, I don't always count my calories or my macros. It's one of those things where if if my other aspects of my life are becoming more important than weightlifting, or if I'm not trying to gain muscle right now and I have more important things to worry about, I'll slack on those and I'll just track my protein, or and I'll just leverage it differently. If all those other things can kind of be pushed back a little bit and I'm trying to make some gains in the gym, that's where I'll start tracking my calories. I'll start, really trying to improve. And you should gauge that based on your life or where you're at in your life. If you're trying to build the best body you can right now, then it makes sense to track as many things as you possibly can without breaking down into madness.
Right.
But if you have other things that are more important, just try and optimize what you can. But you don't have to always press on the gas. You can take a breath every now and then.
Right. You're not, you shouldn't be so just focused on your,
unless you're a bodybuilder.
Intake. Right. Unless that is your goal. Right.
Yeah.
If your goal is to, and we're not speaking to those people necessarily, because we're speaking to the general population who doesn't bodybuild. Right?
Yeah. They probably know twice as much as us anyways.
Right.
They're on a different level of thinking probably.
Right. But if you're a bodybuilder, or you want a similar to bodybuilder physique, then by all means track your calories, right? And get very good at tracking your calories.
Yeah.
But once you're very good at it, then in general, most of the time, you're able to kind of go off of intuition based off of what you have done in the past and how your body feels throughout the day.
Yeah, coworkers are blown away when I tell them exactly how many calories are in a food, or like I could tell somebody that a 20-ounce bottle of soda has 230 calories in it or something like that. I can tell them it has 46 grams of carbs. Like, people don't realize that once you track your calories and your macros for even just a few months, you can pretty much decipher most things.
Right.
You can break things mostly down.
Right, and then at that point, it's not controlling your life anymore. No. You don't have to write down.
You're just on You're on autopilot. You kind of just get it.
Right. You just know, and that's kind of where you want to end up as someone who's trying to lift weights or trying to become much more well versed in the macro sphere, is getting into the more intuition sided area of that. Because once you know your caloric intake, and once you know where you are to begin with, it's a lot easier to move forward. Whereas these people who say, "Oh, I know I'm eating a lot, right? I must be eating like 5,000 calories a day," and then you go and look, and they're eating 2,000 calories a day.
Big difference.
With 30 grams of protein and like 400 grams of carbs. Then
you would feel like garbage if you did that. 30 grams of protein and 400 grams of carbs. You'd be so lethargic.
But people do it, right? It's all fast food and processed food.
Yeah, that's true. That's mostly
fats and carbs.
Fats and carbs, yeah. Sodium, there's so much like salt and sugar that goes into so many processed foods. It's ridiculous.
And not that, sodium or any of that stuff doesn't have its place, right?
Well, obviously, but like if you're eating 4,000 milligrams of sodium,
right, that's not good. Right?
No, it's not, no, your heart disagrees with that one.
So I guess just kind of to wrap most of it into a little bit of a nutshell, right? The science says 0.7 grams of protein. We tend to go with about 1.
Yeah,
1 gram
roundabout. It's gonna float around there. It might be above one day, it might be below. It's part of having that intuition and having your macros and your calories kind of in the back burner of your mind. That's where you want to be, where you can you're getting what you need, but it's also not taking up too much time in your life. It's not like the center of your focus.
Well, I guess we didn't really talk about either how it's not a daily thing, right? So your body doesn't reset every day and is like,
unfortunately,
I need 4,000 calories, right?
Yeah.
It's a continual process. So if you are short on your calories one day, or you're short on your macros one day, you say your protein, you only hit 0.5, right, for your protein. The next day, go up to 1.5.
Well, and that's
hit 1.5 grams of protein, and you're not going to be drastically influenced by that fluctuation on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing it weekly, right, if you're continually hitting lows on your protein or your macros in general, that is where you start to see the concern of, I'm actually not eating enough to build muscle.
That's where I've always been curious about like weekly tracking. Unfortunately, though, the only way to weekly track is by daily tracking.
Right.
So it really doesn't make any difference. But yeah, like your weekly and almost monthly, like obviously gains don't happen overnight as much as we would love them to be. I mean, they technically kind of do, but they don't. Protein synthesis happens like overnight, but like that doesn't mean gains.
No, and that's still, even still, that's like a 2-day process.
Yeah. But I don't remember where I was going with that. Solid. I got lost in the sauce there. I actually got lost in the macrosphere.
Wow.
When you said that, I want to trademark that. Put that on a shirt. Macrosphere. That's brilliant.
I feel like that's probably going to come a little bit later.
I don't know, but we're going to have to get macrosphere trademarked. But anyway, obviously, consistency is key. Making sure you hit your macros. As long as you do it, you do it.
You're gonna be fine.
You're gonna be fine.
And
you're gonna be fine.
You're gonna be fine.
Don't put too much pressure on yourself to get like exactly what you need.
Right.
Your body is gonna regulate itself, and you don't need exactly 180,000 milligrams or grams of protein every day.
More protein is actually not better, contrary to popular belief. I mean, to an extent it is, but not overboard, right? So 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight is not actually.
You ever see like beneficial. You ever see those old clips of like Ronnie Coleman's meals or whatever, and he'd have like 12 tilapia fillets in a pan or something like ridiculous.
Ronnie Coleman was built different though.
Ronnie Coleman actually was a freak of nature. Maybe that's why. Maybe we're actually wrong. Maybe we need to eat.
Just go to Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, we need to eat 0 carbs, 0 fats, all of the protein,
and just die.
And
do 800.
Except isn't he like crippled now?
Probably. I think he injured himself.
Yeah, I think he was like fucked up now.
That's okay. Yeah, that's all right.
He was a beast. He was a beast of nature. So
he could squat 800 solid ass pounds.
Solid ass pounds. Nothing like a peanut either.
Nothing like a peanut.
I don't know what that means.
It's Ronnie Coleman.
It's Ronnie Coleman speak.
All right. So that's kind of what we had. I guess just to kind of wrap it up into a very nice macrosphere.
Macrosphere, baby. TM.
Right around 1 gram of protein is what we will kind of stick with and preach. Per pound of body weight. In general, I tend to eat right around 1.5 grams of carbs per pound of body weight.
I eat way less than that. I probably eat. But
you have issues with it.
I do. I mean, I don't know about issues, but I don't process it very well. It doesn't seem to affect me much. It doesn't affect my energy very much. So right around 0.5 probably for me for carbs.
And then 20% to 30% of your total caloric intake is fats.
Yeah.
And that's in general what we kind of live by.
Yeah.
When you're bulking, obviously that's caloric intake.
But for beginners, if you're even trying to bulk, you're a wild man. If you've never weightlifted and you're going straight into a bulk, you're absolutely obscene.
Right.
If you're cutting, then you're probably fat and you need to be just working out and working on that and making sure you're eating just a clean diet.
But if you haven't listened to our previous podcast, if you are overweight and want to lose weight, then you actually will want to eat in a caloric surplus anyways in order to increase that metabolism.
Yeah, if you're weightlifting and doing everything else right and you have discipline.
See a little plug right there. Go listen to
listen to all of our podcasts, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and I guess rate us 5 stars.
Rate us 5 stars on Spotify. We're hoping to get out on Apple at some point. It's really hard.
It's a pain in the ass.
Apple just hates anyone that doesn't have like all Apple products.
Yeah, if you don't stroke him off, if you don't stroke the CEO off, then
who is the CEO?
I don't know. Some other guy with a black turtleneck. I don't know. Somebody else who wants to take all of your money and get stroked off. I'm not sure.
Great,
but
that's really good. All right.
Instagram handles.
Yeah. So I am at Gray Matter Cole.
I am graymatter.alex.
And then you can also follow Gray Matter Gains Media
on Instagram. All on Instagram.
We do have Facebook. That is Gray Matter Gains.
Okay. And then on YouTube, we're also Gray Matter Gains.
Yep. So check us all out. Follow us. Share our stuff. Please
absolutely spam every like or 5-star. Just spam it.
Right. Just tell us that we're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Even though we're probably not as of right now. But
throw comments in for engagement.
Yes. Please DM us.
Yes,
we are really wanting to do a Q&A here soon.
Q&A would be good. Feedback in general would just be good.
Yeah, feedback in general. If you hate our episodes, please tell us why.
Yeah, if you think we're trash at what we do, then just let us know why.
Right.
We want to learn.
We do want to learn, and that's and if you want to,
if you want to send hate speech our way, that's still engagement.
Still engagement, so please do it.
Do it anyway.
The more comments we get, I'm sure that helps with the algorithm. So
yeah, usually the one like the posts and YouTube videos with a bunch of negative comments are usually the ones that do better.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Jake Paul or Logan Paul going through a suicide forest and finding a dead body had a whole lot of positive comments, and I heard about it.
Yeah, it went off.
So
I watched the video.
Did you?
I did.
See, brilliant. It's incredible marketing. So yes, throw hate speech, throw feedback, throw whatever you can in the comments.
Yes, please. And definitely DM us on Instagram. Probably if you just have a general question and want to be on the Q&A, I would say do Gray Matter Gains Media.
Yeah, media.
But if you just have general questions for us and how we work out, You can DM our separate Instagram accounts, and we can kind of, if you want to collectively talk about it, then we probably could do that as well.
Yeah. So now that we've been groveling for like 2 minutes, goodbye.